Welcome back, you guys. My name is Carlos, and alongside me is an announcer and talk show host for the Phoenix Suns. Also, his podcast is the Alta Podcast. It is Marco Peralta. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man.
I'm glad for you to be here.
No, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation, and it's a good time to speak with you. So thank you for the invitation.
Before we start, I'd just like to congratulate you on getting that broadcast position for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So with the broadcasting department, I start in the beginning of February, so I'm really excited for that. I really am.
And so we're going to go in with the interview. I have a question. What is one of the most challenging things about your job?
Challenging things about my job, I would say, that's a really good question from the beginning. I will say maybe being unprepared, I guess you would say.
Being unprepared?
Because of the fact that there's no such thing as being too prepared. You know,
Okay.
It's someone who does their homework is always in the right mindset, doing the right thing. So if you're showing up to a broadcast and you're unprepared, it could be very complicated because sometimes you have to make your research, you do your homework, and it makes a little bit more complicated situation. So being a little bit unprepared, I think it's very challenging because of what it leads to in a broadcast.
And also, what's that feeling you have? You recently just got a broadcast position for the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. So what's that feeling, being around the energy?
Well, it's honestly a dream come true because when I was a kid, I've always had the dream of working in the world of baseball. So being able to obtain that position with this organization, in the Major League Baseball, it's a dream come true, like I say, and I'm really excited to get started. And the 2 seasons I've been with the Phoenix Suns, it's been something incredible. Last year I was doing the pregame, halftime, and postgame show hosting. Now I'm a color commentator / backup play-by-play. So just being around that type of energy, it's always been one of my goals, and thankfully I'm able to live it every time there's a Phoenix Suns game, and now every time there's an Arizona Diamondbacks game.
And I seen you on Twitter, you took a picture of the background, and I was like, what? That's such an amazing job. Also, so you graduated from ASU Cronkite.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of jobs or internships did you attend while progressing your career?
So it was interesting because, as I told you before we started recording, I am a junior college transfer, so I come from California. Actually.
Okay.
I come from California, and prior to my trip, for me moving over here to Arizona, I went to go visit the headquarters of ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut.
Wow.
And I have a couple mentors there that have been really great help for me to this day. And when I was at ASU and I transferred over, mm-hmm. I would say the beginning of my spring semester, which is 2020 when all this pandemic thing happened, mm-hmm. but starting in 2020 I applied for an internship, and I was on one of the final stages to get the internship, but then all of a sudden the pandemic happened. They were like, you know what, no more interns. So it was a little bit complicated because there were opportunities I was potentially going to get and I never got them because of the pandemic. But once ASU comes around and says, hey, you need an internship for your graduation requirement, the opportunity with the Phoenix Suns happened, and I auditioned for the role. I got it, and I've been there ever since. So I would say I only had one internship.
One internship out of your whole college?
Throughout my college years. In my junior college, I had a couple other internships, like at a TV station local where I'm from. Also one across the border at Mexicali. But when I was here at ASU, I only had one internship.
Wow.
One internship. And that led on to the job I have right now. So I'm really blessed for that one.
And how long have you been working with the Diamondbacks?
Well, I haven't started yet.
Okay.
I start in February. I've had some snippets of working with people surrounding the Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I have a mentor that works at ESPN. He's came a couple times to do some things for spring training. And this past season, he was passing through Phoenix. And I don't know if you've been to a game, and there's this snack called the churro dog.
Yeah.
So he came to Phoenix to make a segment of that snack, and he asked me, hey, can you be my cameraman? You know what I mean? So it's just little snippets of that, but now being able to be with the Diamondbacks for a full season, I can't even.
It's a dream come
true. It's
right?
a dream come true. I wish I could say what I would expect, but because it's the Major League Baseball organization, anything can happen. Anything can happen.
And so, when did you realize this was your time? Wow, this is meant for me. This is my job. This is it. This is my passion.
So when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a professional soccer player. I wasn't that good, obviously, because I didn't make it. But when I was a kid, I still enjoyed the announcers. Like, I speak Spanish, so I grew up listening to Spanish announcers a whole lot.
Okay.
The energy, just how they were able to paint the picture, it made me very attracted to it. But I never thought it would be a career. I never thought, like, when I was growing up, I always thought, like, they were there automatically. Like, they were already there, you know. But little by little, I was like, you know what? I see people go to school for this, and I will say that when I was in high school, I wasn't the best high school student. So I had terrible grades, but then in the middle of my high school career, my junior year in high school, there was an internship at a Christian radio station back home, and they said, hey, there is a sports talk show on the station. You like to apply for it? I'm like, absolutely, you know, absolutely.
Take that advantage.
Yes, man. I was like, you know what? If there's an opportunity and I'm able to try out what I want to maybe do as a career, I'm gonna give it a taste and give it a try. And then after the first time I went on air,
you just fell in love with it.
I fell in love with it. I will say it was horrible.
Yeah.
I look back at it, I'm like, dang, I was like that back in the day.
You kind of like cringe.
Yeah, I cringe. I'm like,
that's how you know you grew.
Yeah, my voice. I'm like, dang, it doesn't sound very good. But then I said, you know what? I'm thankful for that day because that's when it started. You know. But then after that, I graduated high school. But like I said, I wasn't the best high school student, so I went to community college. But then I met my very first mentor in the business. His name is Joe Davis from the Dodgers. Okay. So he's the main play-by-play announcer for the team. He took over Vince Scully. I'm pretty sure you know who Vince Scully is. So one day I was laying down in my bed. I was watching a baseball game, and I said to myself, if I want to pursue this career, I want to ask for advice. I want to ask for people like, hey, what did you do to get to where you're at? Like, is there something that you recommend me, or can you help me in any way? Because I had no connections back home. There's not many people that do what I do, you know. So I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna ask for advice. So what I did is I was laying down. I typed up a message to Joe, sent it through Facebook, and he replied the very next day. And he said, "Hey, I'm happy to talk with you, and we'll set up a phone call." So when he told me that he was able to set up a phone call with me to answer any questions I had, it's when I felt that like fire inside me saying like, I can do this.
You can do this.
I can do this. And like once I started seeing that little by little, more opportunities coming along, the more people I met, stuff like that, I'm like, this is for me. Like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
It's funny because like when I look back at this, I'm gonna be like, oh, this is how I did it. You know, like from a year or two now, but it's just how we grow. Now I asked your friend this. What kind of advice do you give for aspiring journalists?
I would just say, believe in yourself, man. Believe in yourself and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Right? Because some people are very like hesitant or scared of criticism or like people being told like, hey, you're not doing so well here, or like, you know what, this is probably not for you. Like I've heard that before. You know, I've heard that before, people that doubted me, but when you see that, I would say just take it as motivation. You know, take it as motivation because of the fact that you're starting to do something that you want to pursue, that puts you ahead of so many other people. Because in some other people, it's just a thought. It's a thought like, I want to try it someday. Or like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. But the people that actually take the action to do it, that's something that's really good.
So like mindset.
Yeah, mindset. Mindset is important. Like, take that first step. Take that first step. And also mentality-wise, like you're saying, when you're in this career, there's going to be so many days that you're going to be bringing yourself down. A lot of dark days that you'll be like, I don't know if I can do this. How you bounce back from those days is what's going to make you who you are in your career. Because you're going to overcome many obstacles mentally and be like, okay, this is where I was wrong. This is where I could fix this. This is how I could get better. This is what I got to do next. So I think that's really, really important in that aspect. Yeah.
So I have another question. This is for the viewers right here. Have you been watching the NFL playoffs?
Of course, yes, dude. So my team's an NFC championship, man.
What's your team, real quick?
I'm a San Francisco 49er, bro.
I'm a Cardinals fan, so I don't know if I go for the Rams
in
or the 49ers, but a straight up question, Super Bowl.
I gotta say, I want that rematch.
You want
that rematch of Niners and Chiefs, even though maybe the Chiefs are animals in the postseason, but I would really would like a rematch.
Left a bad taste, huh?
Yeah, left a bad taste. You know, after that team, I think was really good defensively. That's the reason we made it to the Super Bowl a couple of years back. But I really hope that the Niners and Chiefs get that rematch and that the San Francisco 49ers get another ring into their.
We'll have to see. I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, we got the Rams, the Chiefs. What else? We have the 49ers, and then the fourth team, I believe, is
you got the Rams,
Bengals.
49ers, Bengals, and Chiefs. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Super Bowl of the underdogs.
Yeah, I can see
Niners
Joe
and
Burrow.
Bengals. You never know.
Second year, his first year he was injured. Second year, he's killing the game right now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something that Joe Burrow that I really enjoy a lot of him is that he's a go-getter. You know, he's a go-getter, and it kind of relates to this career. Like, if you want something, go get it. You know, he's won the Heisman Trophy. He's won the national championship. All he needs is basically the Super Bowl, and he was won it all basically. So I respect him a whole lot.
I also have a question. How did you get the opportunity to be an announcer for the Phoenix Suns?
So it was to the internship I told you about. A friend of mine said that, hey, we're having interns at the station that is the Spanish home of the Phoenix Suns. I said, hey, is there a way I could talk to the boss, the guy in charge, to see if I can intern? And my boss that is still there is the actual Spanish voice of the Phoenix Suns. And I told him, hey, like, I'm bilingual. I really love sports. I've been in radio for a couple of years now, and I would love to try and be part of the broadcast team. And they said, you know what, let's throw you on the air. They have a talk show every day that I still do to this day. And my boss said, I like how you sound. You know a lot about sports, and you know how to carry yourself, you know, and like, let's bring you on to the broadcast. And that's when I got the opportunity to be a pregame, halftime, and postgame show host. And then this year, thankfully, I got to be the color commentator and backup play-by-play announcer. So, and actually last season, I actually called a couple NBA games actually. So I had my NBA debut at 22 years old. Yeah, so.
And you also have your own podcast as well?
Yes. I've had that podcast for a couple years now, but recently I just changed the format of the podcast. Like back then, I started my own personal Facebook page for sports because back home there's not many people, like I said, that do what I do. So I had to create my own opportunities, which is really important in this business. If you don't get the opportunities that you think you deserve, create your own. And that's what I did back home. And I interviewed athletes, I interviewed coaches, I interviewed people from back home, and then when I moved to ASU, I put it on hold for some time and just focused on my school and getting better at my craft. Then once I was starting to come to the end of my college career, I was like, you know, I'm gonna pick up my podcast again and now interview the people I've met throughout the years. You know, like media personalities, college coaches. I met some MLB players, some MLB coaches. So I'm trying to just make that my format now and just tell their story. You know, like obviously some sports talk in there, but I'm a big believer that every person behind a microphone, every person behind a helmet that has a helmet, they all have a story. You know, they all have a story that where they came from, what it means for them to be where they're at. So that's the format I love to do. So that's what I try to do, and I'm excited to actually get started here pretty soon again. You
and Jordan share like a lot of similarities. You guys want to share like the deeper side of like the stories from the athletes and everything like that off and on the field.
Yeah, I think it's really important because people forget that the athletes on the field are humans sometimes, you know?
Right.
Like one of the biggest things that I don't like about fans in sports that they see, for example, football players like, oh, he's part of my fantasy. Or like, hey, he has to win, he has to get a touchdown for me to get $20. You know, I'm like, it's more than that. You know, it's more than that. Like these people, like they come from potentially, some of them, a good amount of them from low income families that have to sacrifice a whole lot to get to where they're at. And all they care about is about their team winning or they can help them win fantasy. I'm like, no, that's not what it is. These people, they wake up just like you and I, you know, and they can have an off day the day of a game. You know, they could be feeling sick, they could be going through something mentally, and you gotta respect them. You know, you gotta respect them because they're human, and that's the story that I like to talk about. You know, because everyone has a story about that.
And when you share that connection, it creates something special.
Yeah, I think it becomes more relatable to some people because at the same time, you see these players and you find something in their story that you can connect with. You're like, oh, wow. Like, for example, let's say Tom Brady. And you say, like, wow, he's from San Mateo. my sister's from San Mateo.
Okay.
She's not from there. She lives there now. So I'm like, oh wow, Tom Brady is from where my sister lives now. So I'm like, that's pretty sick. Like, there's a reason why I would like to support him now, or feel more related to him. So that's what that people need to understand, that like you find those little snippets of players, coaches, athletes, whatever, and it gives you more of a sense that they're human as well, and they have their own story.
Of course. And would you say, like, what do you see yourself in 10 years, like in the broadcast, sports media? Do you see yourself still building your podcast, still being an announcer, or just, could you even see yourself relocating to a different sports team, or it's all up in the air?
Man, that's the $1 million question, bro, because I have my personal goals and aspirations. I'm like, my ultimate goal, dream, is to be either a play-by-play announcer for a baseball team, English or Spanish, or a professional soccer team, either English or Spanish, and either work for MLB Network or work for ESPN.
ESPN?
One of those 4 things. Like, that's what I'm striving for, and I see myself there in those 10 years, and hopefully for the rest of we kind of a little bit got back to normal. Fall 2020, I was able to call a couple football games, baseball games, like for example, Jordan and I called the Territorial Cup, the big, that was a 70-7 score. Jordan and I called that game, and that was really a special time. And it was funny because I think at ASU, they knew that maybe Jordan and I were like the broadcasting duo, because we had a lot of games together.
Okay.
So that's basically what it went down with. I was involved with clubs like Blaze Radio, also House of Sparky with SB Nation. So that's what I was mainly doing. But then, unfortunately, the pandemic changed a whole lot of it. But the people there at Cronkite, the teachers, the students, the peers, they're all great people. That there's those people that really want to help you. There's obviously students that are just there because their parents can afford it, or they want to try something, or they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go get a degree. Now there's people there that like really want what you and I basically want to do, and those people, like, they're really supportive. They're really good at what they do, and they're always willing to listen. They're always willing to learn, and they're always willing to help out. And I think that's what makes Cronkite such a great school. So yeah.
Where do you find your passion? Because I can see, like, it just lights a fire.
The passion, I would say a lot of it, not specifically in sports broadcasting, but more of my background.
Yeah.
I would say my family, man, because we've gone through a whole lot. Like I said, I wasn't a big high school student. My dad, he went through cancer when I was in high school. Thank you, brother. And he's still going through this day, a whole lot better compared to back then. I grew up in a trailer, back home. My mom was the only source of income, and because my dad couldn't work, my mom wasn't making a whole lot of money. She had to sacrifice a whole lot. There was times that we struggled to see what we were going to eat that day sometimes, or we had to limit what we were eating, in order to stay within budget, stuff like that. And my dad also, when I was a kid, he got deported to Mexico. So my mom had to basically play mom and dad for a good 6 years of my life. She still kind of does it to this day. And she had to maintain 2 houses with the little income that she made to make everything work, and still try to make my dad come back to the United States. So I would say a lot of that revolves my family, because I look at myself and I'm like, dang, like, I'm pursuing this career that not many people do back home, and they've sacrificed so much for me to get to where I'm at. Obviously, they can't really help out financially, but their support and love is what keeps me going, and I have a lot of goals, like, hopefully, Lord willing, one day I'm able to buy my mom a house, because she's always wanted a house. She's always been in that trailer, so hopefully one day, if I make the money that I hope I make one day, I'm able to buy my parents a house, and my mom could be like relaxed and doesn't have to worry about paying the bills and stuff like that. So I would say a lot about my family and my support group back home, because the Imperial Valley is a place with a lot of great people and support you a whole lot, and my family has been part of that niche for a long time for me.
I would say me and my mom too, she's always raised me, right? And it's always been a single mother. And I feel like, I owe it to her and my whole family to make something up, because my sister is the only one that went to college, and I'm the second one to go to college. So I feel like I need to prove it to them that, you know, I can do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my sister, she, like I said, lives in San Francisco in the Bay Area. She went to community college for some time, but she didn't finish college.
Okay.
So I would say I'm the only one that's gone to college and actually graduated from my family. So she says like, hey, you're already smarter than me because of the fact you have a college degree. But she's proud. You know, me and her have about 9.5 years age difference. She's older than me, and I remember one day we were in Vegas. We went to go on vacation, and she told me one day like, hey, like when I left, because she left right after high school to move out there. When I left, I felt like I was like leaving behind a son, because like I was a kid when she left, you know, and just having that sense of like, we share that connection.
Just like,
we're there, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like me. I'm a big family guy. Like I love my parents. I love my sister. I love my girlfriend at the same time too. Like my dad, he's very hard-headed. He's not. He's very like not up there or making some smart decisions, but. Like I still love him, you know.
He supports what you're doing.
He tries, you know, like to be supportive as he can. Like I said, there's some days that he's not really make the best decisions, but sometimes like he does the right ones. But no matter what he does, he's still my father. Like I'm blessed to say that I have a dad, you know, because there's people out there that don't have that privilege. You know, they can't say like my dad's right across the street. I mean, like right at the house. You know, like. Some people, they grew up without a dad or parents got divorced or whatever. Like, I am really thankful and privileged to say that my dad is still alive, even though what's happened, and he's been part of my life, my entire life.
And so people that, like, don't grow up with a dad, they turn on that TV and they see you, they want to, you know, be happy, and you want to provide them with that fulfillment.
Yeah, like, what I want to do in this career is be an inspiration for other people. You know, like, I want to accomplish my dreams. I want to do a lot of events that I grew up watching, but I want to be an inspiration for a lot of people. Nice. In what sense? Like, I want them to look at my life, what I've been through, or I've lived, where I come from, and say like, hey, if he can make it, then I can make it.
Right.
You know, like there's people back home saying that they're super proud of what I've done. But I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to fulfill my dream and inspire others along the way.
You gotta keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta keep going. It's one step at a time, but if I can impact as many lives as I can, and at the same time share my faith about Jesus Christ with those people,
God willing,
I'm gonna do it. Yes, Lord willing. Yes, brother.
I feel like I'm working for ESPN, because the next question I'm gonna ask you: what separates you from everyone else that's graduated from Cronkite and, you know, broadcasting? Like, what makes you unique? Why should I have you?
I will say, it's two things. The fact that I'm able to broadcast at a professional level in 2 languages, English and Spanish.
Bilingual.
Yeah, bilingual. Play-by-play, show hosting, color commentating, you name it. I could do it in both languages. And I think something that really, I think, stands out about me is I would say maybe another one is I'm very, like, relational. Like, I like talking to people.
You're a people person.
I'm a people person, you know? Like, I'm not afraid to put myself out there and the other thing I would say is I try to be a hard worker. You know, there's times that, like, I don't know how to do something, and if it's my duty to learn how to do it, I will learn how to do it. You know, it's like I might suck at editing something, but if it's my duty to learn how to do it and be proficient at it, I will take my time to do it.
Whatever it takes.
Exactly,
right?
You know, and it's really important. Even Jordan said it when you interviewed him, that it's very important to be as versatile as you can. You know, learn everything you can, try everything that you can, and see what you love to do. You know, and I think that's really important in this business.
Could you see yourself dabbing in like sports writing or anything else?
That's the thing I wouldn't do.
You want to do sports writing?
I wouldn't do sports writing.
No,
I tried it.
That's interesting.
It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing.
Is it just not like too enticing? You want to be around the game. You want
like typing. Like it's just not my thing. Like I'm more like a hands-on guy. Like being out there, experiencing people. Yeah, like being part of the Phoenix Suns and doing their broadcast. Like that's what I want to do.
Especially
like,
last year.
yes, and like, dude, like I was I'm 23 right now, and I was 22 years old when I covered my first NBA Finals. Like, the fact that I was there, I'm like, man, like that just gives me chills.
People
Just
chase
thinking about
that.
it. Yeah, it's something amazing. I'm trying to do writing. I don't think it's for me. Like, I want to be there experiencing it, drawing a picture for people, you know, and there's something like why I love broadcasting a whole lot. Like, back home, I couldn't go to a lot of baseball games, a lot of sports games. I listened to the radio or I watched a lot of the games. So, like, I know there's people out there who can't afford going to, like, a game against the San Antonio Spurs, who are not really good this season, which is going to be like $10 a ticket, but maybe they still can't afford it, you know. But if I can provide that picture to them so they can feel they're part of it, that's what I want to do.
And the fact that you're in the environment and you can make a living off of it is just, it's truly special.
Yeah, like, I'm blessed that I'm able to do the job that I do, you know. I could do something else, maybe earn a whole lot more money as of right now for my age or whatever, but being able to consider that my job, I wouldn't even consider it a job, you know. Like, I get to do what I love to do. Like, when I put on a headset, nothing else matters, you know. Like, it doesn't feel like a job. I'm just like doing what I love, you know.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
For sure. You say you're 23, right?
I'm 23 right now.
Wow, so you still have a long ways to go.
Yeah, and
Phil Simms, he's like, how old? The broadcaster for Sunday night?
He's
NFL.
Man,
he's like 70.
Yeah, he's up there.
I'm like, wow, these people are still.
Yeah, they're still really like great at their work.
They are.
You know, and they've been there for a long, long time, and that's what I aspire to do one day. But yeah, like, there's days that I tell myself, man, that I'm like, I'm not running out of time or something like that. But then, like, a lot of people tell me, like, dude, you're 23 years old. Like, you have the whole entire life ahead of you. Like, why the heck are you rushing yourself?
You just want it right away sometimes.
Yeah, or sometimes it's like that. But that's something you need to learn. Just be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient. Good things comes to those that wait.
Be patient, work hard, be persistent.
Yeah.
God willing, right?
Exactly.
Believe in God.
Have faith, have trust, and
good support system.
Yeah, and you'll be fine, man. Like I said, my dreams and aspirations are to be a play-by-play announcer for a soccer, baseball team, or MLB Network or ESPN. But maybe down the road, I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't want to do that after all. You know, like, I want to just be a Phoenix Suns broadcaster. You know, and like I'm gonna be happy with that. And that's when I come to the realization. You know, so it's really important to know what you want and be okay with whatever happens throughout the process, throughout the journey.
Yeah, you seem like a real chill, down to earth guy, man.
Yeah, I try. I try.